in carbon trioxide. So that means we have one carbon atom and 3 atoms of oxygen in each molecule of carbon trioxide. The mass of carbon is 24 grams and it represents 20% of the compound. What is the mass of oxygen in grams? What is the mass of oxygen in grams? Good. So here now, if we are talking about now, what is the mass of oxygen in grams? So this one now, CO3, it contains how many elements? 2 elements, which is carbon and oxygen. Okay, and the mass of the whole compound, it represents 100%. It represents 100%. Good. And each part of it, it represents partial ratio. So that means when they say 20%, which is for carbon. So if carbon here represents 20%, that means oxygen would represent what? 80%. Why? Because the sum of the percentages has to be 100%. So that means 20% it represents carbon and 80% it represents what? Oxygen. Okay, what's next? The question now, what is the mass of oxygen in grams? Okay, this 20% now, this 20% now, this 20%, it represents 24 grams. Mass of carbon, it represents. So the question now, it was the mass of oxygen. So here now, this equation, by the way, if I have equation like this, look, 20% gives you 24. You deal with it as fraction and you can multiply it by any number you want and you divide it by any number you want. Okay, now, if I want to change it now to be 80%, look, the 20% gives me 24. If I want to change the 20% to be 80%, so it means I multiply here by 4. I multiply here by 4, and here I multiply by 4, and I multiply by 4, both of them. When I multiply here by 4 and here by 4, or again, I multiply here by 4, I'll get what? 80%. And 80% now, when I multiply here by 4, 4 times 20 is 80, and 4 times 4 is 16, so I'll get 96. Get 96 what? Grams. So what does that mean now? That means 80% of the mass will give you 96 grams. And we know that oxygen, it represents 80%, so it shows what? 96 grams. This is one way to solve. Another way to solve is, as long as this one, 24 grams, it represents 20%. So that means now that the oxygen would represent 80%. 80% means 4 times this number. 4 times this percentage. So that means it is 4 times this number. 4 times 24, you go to find it what? 96. Okay, but this is 2 ways of math, and you can use many ways to find this number using math ideas.